Just checking over the market. Got Asia just opening now. What are we at? 10:12 on Monday morning. So incredible sort of whipsaw on Friday after the NFP. We got initial drop, sort of saw DXY sort of sell off. We saw gold and Aussie and that pop up into their resistance zones. But I think it's a bit of a revision of the numbers, or there was like some Fed comments coming out as well. And also, I think it was ISM or something on the Friday night as well. So all those sort of factors in that saw this large sort of sharp reversal sort of come down, and everything just really got hammered early. So interesting to sort of see how the sort of follow through comes in on the Monday. But I mean, look, the big thing that I've been looking at mainly, we'll flip across to the DXY first, is this retest. If you've watched any of my videos, and you can see this line here, is the retest of the underside of this main trend. So if we put it onto a higher sort of time frame, for some reason the alerts aren't working this morning, so let's just delete the alert off that. Yep. Okay, that's great. Now we can move the trend. This is what we've been looking for the whole time. So we've got this main trend that we've been sort of respecting sort of for the last month or so. We got this big breakdown here, it came through, and if you watch some of my videos from the last couple of weeks, you'll see once we got this breakdown here, you can see this line here I drew, how I was saying, look, we're going to come back up and retest this. Now, obviously, it went down further, boom, and it's come back up here, and this has been the actual sort of break and retest move here. However, this is what we've been looking for the whole time, is this retest of the underside of the main trend here. So it's interesting to sort of see how this sort of plays out, because this big move and reversal of this initial drop down on NFP, which if we go back onto the lower timeframes, you see this was the NFP drop, and then the sort of reversal just absolutely trumps it, and it just didn't give up any of those gains, pushing right into the close of Friday night session. So you got to respect the reason. There must be something sort of going behind people going, okay, let's push this up, let's drive, and let's not give up any of those gains. However, I still think the bigger picture is the fact that we broke this main trend. We are expecting this reversal here. These sort of reversals, I've shown this on a couple of the other charts, particularly with gold. If we flip over to gold quickly, you see these sort of breaks of the trend, and they come back and they retest the break points, and then they see the move. Gold, oil loves to do this, DXY, these large sort of things that really take a lot to turn around. As soon as people are sort of getting out of their positions, then they're sort of, getting out of their position, but sort of like, taking positions to the downside, I guess, yes, getting out of their positions on a technical basis, they'll always sort of come back up and sort of hit these sort of early entry people. This also is another move that can be just sort of sucking in some more liquidity for a greater move to the downside. So, like, while we still need to respect the fact that this moved up and it came up very strongly, I still think the overall big picture is the fact that we've broken this main trend. This is a retest, and I'm going to be looking, as we can see here, for a move sort of further to the downside. Mainly, we can retest these lows from sort of, what was this, mid last week or 2 weeks ago or so. But really, if we can start to sort of break these lows here, then we're going to start to see that shift of the main trend to the downside, and we can start to sort of look at higher time frames, of course, a couple of the sort of like support areas where price may be sort of moving down to if we're coming down here. So this also shows a good sort of picture of this main trend. Bang, bang, here we go. Anybody that was short from any of these sort of levels here, well, if they've moved their stops to even, or they're getting pretty sort of nervous right now, this is the retest here, and we're going to start seeing a move down to this side over here. You can't just sort of go off straight of DXY. I mean, if you look at copper as well was great. We can see a second price target on that main falling resistance, which we've been sort of, that was a perfect trade. I mean, this is another one where you see the initial break of the trend comes back down, retest. This retest is below the initial breakout point. Anybody that got in on these breaks here, bang, they took out. Once it passed that initial point, which would be that sort of low that we were talking about with DXY, then that's when you start to see the larger move there. So copper. So Friday night, as you can see, it was been very strong. We hit our first price target, came back, market thought about it. Couple of goes, and again, if you watch some of our videos you saw from last week, you'll see that these were the points. We knew the sellers were there. We knew the sellers were there. We got the pop, and away we went. We came up and tested this main trend. So this main trend coming down here, where we had our second price target, is a very long-term falling resistance. As you can see, this is back in March 22. We've been respecting this. We did pop outside and sort of like hold out for, the better part of a day, sort of back in, was it sort of late July. But of course, came back down. This came in line with sort of this strong kick that we've been seeing with the US dollar. But since we broke this falling wedge with the back test and that, we've just really been appreciating all the way through. So generally things don't die in one go. So don't expect this to hit the price target and then, okay, that's it, game over, melt down. I mean, there is an option, obviously, that, this was in a large triangle, that we could move back down to these lows over here. Like there's nothing to sort of say that we're definitely going to be breaking out at this point. As you can see, we've still got a little bit to make use of this triangle if we want to sort of take it right to the tip. But, certainly this is a good line to be sort of respecting. And once we can break and hold above this, obviously we've got those sort of higher time frame horizontal resistances to deal with, but that's something to take note of. And particularly if we're looking for DXY weakness, this will be another indicator of a shift of sort of momentum and trend with that. So this is one to watch for here. If we flip across to gold, same sort of thing where we saw this big sort of NFP push and then sharp reversal. Gold didn't give up a lot of its gains though, and we only just came down and clipped these lower sort of supports. So again, they're not giving up a lot of the profits here. We're not seeing a shift in sentiment of the market to sort of come right down to the downside. While you've got DXY pushing to, it had its highest daily close by, I think, 7 points in this latest run, you're also seeing this big appreciation in gold. And as you can see, like gold sort of really, it's starting to firm up, a little bit of a trend here. I wouldn't be surprised, I wouldn't be shocked if we do get a bit of a sort of consolidation sort of through early Monday, Tuesday, especially sort of while the US is on holiday. But this is certainly still in this sort of like upward momentum here. So even though and despite that sort of sell down, on Friday night, I certainly wouldn't be sort of going, okay, yep, this is time to sell it back down to the lows by any mean. I think there's going to be a little bit of work for the bears to do if they want to sort of get it back down towards those sort of lower sort of 1900s. Again, another one just to look for at the same time. We've got this break, two breaks actually here of China. So this has just been a bit of a slow drift down over here. Again, if you've watched my videos, you see the sort of consensus that I've had that we sort of are going to be breaking down to these lower points over here. You saw a sharp sort of push back up after that initial sort of breakdown. If we have a look at this on the 1 hour, I mean, it didn't even last that long. Look at the size of. Again, we're getting up and we're getting this rejection, which we know this has been strong support here. And as you can see, it's flipped over. Now it's the resistance zone. This is another thing that's not telling me that sort of, US dollar or DXY is about to sort of break to all-time high, not all-time highs, but, from this run, all-time highs, I guess you could say, is the fact that we're still seeing China trying to sort of drive it down a little bit, albeit at a very slow pace. We are seeing a little bit of a sort of gradual sort of lower lows coming in and these key supports giving way. And this, again, could just be multiple back tests before we move down and back towards this sort of main trend, which is our price target. Of course, this is on a sliding scale, so depending on how long we take to get there, it may be something more like this. But, they are still the general sort of horizontal sort of targets that we're looking for. Cool. All right. And that's about it for me for now.